the research that says people who have had a cancer diagnosis, if they consume collagen, that they have increased tumor growth or they have increased rates of recurrence. That research hasn't been done yet, which does leave us with an uncomfortable answer. And that's just that we just don't know. But the way that I want to come at this from my education based on what I've done in terms of how to learn how to research better, the research that I have done myself, my knowledge around how the body works, how tumors grow, how cancer grows, and clinically speaking, how often we have people coming to us taking collagen and how they don't seem to have an increased risk of cancer growing or anything like that compared to the general population. As it stands right now with the knowledge that we've got available, I don't feel like this should be a large source of fear when it comes to cancer, taking collagen, but I do feel like if you're going to take collagen, it's got to be worth it. Welcome back to the Flourish After Cancer podcast. Today, I am going to talk all about collagen because it is a very popular supplement. It is something that we often get questions about, particularly with our flourishers who are working with us in the roadmap to recovery, or I get messages quite often as well online, on posts, in my Instagram messages, whatever it might be. So it must be something that you're wondering about too, especially if you're tuning in to this episode right now. So today I'm hoping to go through what is collagen, what is it typically used for, how effective is it actually for that use, and is it safe for someone who has had a cancer diagnosis. I'm going to walk through the process of figuring out if collagen is something that's maybe a good option for you to take or not. And we're going to cover it all in this episode. So thanks for tuning in. First off, let's start with why do people take collagen anyway? What would be some reasons why you might be like, I think this could be something I would want to take? The most common one is typically that you're looking for skin health, hair, skin, nails, potentially. And I do know that it's a common concern for women, particularly who have gone through cancer treatment, that you feel like the treatment has aged you. It feels like your skin potentially has changed. Your body just doesn't feel the same as it used to. And collagen might be getting thrown in your face as an option for what you can do in order to help improve the elasticity or remove some of the wrinkles or just kind of make your skin look healthier again. That's quite often why we see people come to us and are wondering about collagen. Some other reasons would be for everything from like joint pain or joint health. People have considered it for bone health as well, and muscle health. Gut health is something that's very common for people to look at collagen too. And potentially for wound healing, people might think of it for that. But typically we see people are like, I'm looking to make my hair grow nicer. Or my nails are brittle, let's make them stronger, or my skin has lost elasticity or just feels like I'm getting older. Would collagen be something that could help me with that? And is it safe because I've had a cancer diagnosis? So now that you know kind of some reasons why you might want to take it, let's go through what actually is collagen. And then I'll talk about collagen supplements. And then I'll lead into like, what does some of the research say around collagen? And we'll actually figure out, will it help you with that? But first, what is collagen? Collagen is a protein. It's under the category of proteins. Collagen is a major type of protein in your body where about 25 to 30% of the protein in your body is collagen. There are a bunch of different types of collagen. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details right now. I just kind of want to leave you with something to understand and take home with that's factual. But truly, there's a bunch of different types. What it really does, the impact of it is that it provides strength and structure to a lot of the different parts of your body, everything from skin and nails and things like that, to your muscles, to your bones, to even like the cartilage in your ears or cartilage in other places, tendons. All of this has a lot of collagen in it. And you can see that a lot of these materials, like the cartilage in your ears or the tendons, they are structural. They require a structure in order to stand firm. And a lot of that is collagen. So that's what collagen does. It provides structure and strength. How you get collagen is either through diet or supplementation. And typically, collagen is made from a specific layout of amino acids, which are all building blocks to different proteins. So it's a certain mix of amino acids. And you can make collagen in your body from eating a variety of foods that contain the specific amino acids that make up the collagen, as well as making sure that you've got vitamin C, zinc, and copper in your diet, because they also help to make the whole structure of collagen, make up the collagen alongside the amino acids. You can straight up eat collagen as well whenever you're consuming some animal products. So if you're having any beef or poultry, the connective tissue within those meats, within the beef or the poultry, that is actually collagen. So you're straight up eating collagen whenever you eat those products. You can also have bone broth whenever you consume any sort of like gelatin powders. That actually has collagen in it as well. So your body doesn't have to make collagen from anything that you're giving it. It actually has the collagen within those products, and then it just shunts it to parts of the body that require the collagen. Whereas, let's say you're a vegetarian or vegan, you don't eat animal products, you can't technically eat collagen, but your body can make collagen. So if you're having like your protein in your legumes, so your chickpeas, lentils, beans, they have different types of amino acids, different types of proteins in there. You can take those amino acids and then say if you're eating other vegetables that have the vitamin C, the zinc, the copper, it'll go combine all of that together in order to make collagen within your body. So even though you're not going to be straight up eating the collagen from any sort of animal source, your body can still make collagen from those different sources as well. In particular, if you're looking to consume more collagen in your diet, you would want to look at nuts and seeds. They're a good source of certain amino acids that are very predominant in collagen. So I think it's proline and lysine, and they're very important for making collagen. So nuts and seeds, making sure you're getting your protein, making sure you're eating fruits and vegetables that are rich in vitamin C, zinc, copper, and other foods that might be rich in that. That's how you can make collagen, or you can just eat collagen in things like beef and chicken, basically. Okay. Um, Collagen production does decrease naturally over time. Stress can potentially, even some like emotional stress can potentially lower the collagen in your body. Smoking, if you're a smoker, it can reduce the amount of collagen in your body, as well as sun exposure. It breaks down the collagen molecule. So wear your safe sunscreens. And poor sleep has been shown to reduce collagen production in your body as well. So if we're looking to, again, improve collagen more naturally through foods, we want to focus on potentially eating the collagen in actual animal products, or consuming foods that are plant-rich and they have a lot of protein, zinc, vitamin C, copper in them, because you're going to be able to make the collagen molecule that way. Let's quickly talk about collagen powders and compare them to protein powders too. This is a common question that our clients will have, is what's the difference if I take collagen powder versus protein powder? Or, you know what, I already have a collagen powder at home and I just want to put that in my smoothie. Can I use that instead of going and buying another protein powder? So they are fairly different. And the biggest reason is that whenever you have a protein powder, typically you're going to buy what's called a complete protein powder, or it's going to have basically all the protein, essential amino acids in it that we want. Essential amino acids are things that your body can't make. We actually have to consume them. So if you're having a protein powder, it's probably going to be complete, because they don't really make too many not complete protein powders anymore that are more popular. So you're going to be consuming a complete protein powder, and it's going to have all the essential amino acids. Whereas if you're consuming a collagen powder, it is missing some of the, it's missing essential amino acids and one of them. It's also low in some of the other ones. So you're not getting the same balance of the different building blocks of the proteins in a collagen powder versus a protein powder. So a protein powder is a little bit more comprehensive, a little bit more well-rounded, whereas a collagen protein powder is very specific to the building blocks of collagen, just one type of protein, whereas a protein powder would have a whole bunch of different types of things in there, different bunches of building blocks, all right? So we typically would more often encourage people to look at having a complete protein powder over just consuming a collagen powder, because they're still missing some of the essential amino acids that our body needs in order to do other functions above and beyond whatever is needed by collagen. basically you're getting extra bonuses from a complete protein powder that you might not be getting from a collagen, but a collagen would be a little bit more of a concentrated amount of collagen powder, but you're still missing some things from a protein powder. And just another little thing here is that you might have heard of vegan collagen powders, and they're really not collagen. So what vegan collagen powders are is they're basically just the nutrients that can be made into collagen in your body. So typically it would contain like vitamin C, zinc, potentially copper. You might see other like B vitamins like biotin or whatever in there. And the thought process behind a vegan collagen powder is that you're giving your body some of the building blocks, some of the resources that it needs in order to make collagen in your body, which is different from a collagen supplement that's not vegan, where you're actually taking the collagen and your body just takes it and uses it. It doesn't have to make anything from that supplement that you might be taking if you're taking a straight up collagen supplement, okay? The last little point about collagen supplements I want to mention is that collagen itself is a large molecule and it doesn't get properly absorbed through like your gut into the bloodstream and then delivered to the tissues that collagen would be needed in order to do whatever you want it to do. So if you're going to get a collagen supplement, you pretty much have to make sure that it's going to be a hydrolyzed collagen supplement. Otherwise, it's not going to do a whole lot. Your body doesn't use it. You just basically poop it out, I think is what happens. You just don't, it's kind of like wasting your money because the molecule's so large, it just can't get through any of like the intestinal barriers, or if some of it does, it doesn't get into the actual cells to where it's needed. I can't remember exactly where it gets blocked, but it just doesn't get to where you want it to be. And then it's a waste of money because your body's just not using it. So we want to make sure that it's hydrolyzed collagen peptides, basically, is what we're looking for if you were to look for a collagen supplement, which honest to goodness is most commonly what a collagen supplement is these days. It's probably a little bit rare to come across a collagen supplement that's not hydrolyzed. So, but just take a quick peek, whether it's on the main part of your collagen box or container, whatever it might be, or it might be in the ingredients. It might actually say hydrolyzed collagen in the ingredients list. And another quick thing is there's sometimes a bit of a fad or a craze, I guess, around topical collagen. So you might get like a night cream that spouts out marketing information that it contains collagen for improving skin's plumpness, according to research, which I'll get into some research in a minute. But there's no good research showing that collagen in a topical form by putting it in a cream is actually beneficial. It's oral topical that we might see some benefit from, oral collagen that we might see some benefit from when it comes to supporting someone's hair, skin, nails, joints, whatever we're taking it for. It has to be oral for the most part. So it's just a marketing scheme to say that there's collagen in your night cream and it's going to help with wrinkles. It's probably not true, unfortunately. All right. So what does the evidence say in a little bit more detail? I just picked out a couple of studies here that are a little bit more recent. Overall, though, the research on collagen and its actual effectiveness around, let's start with skin health, is kind of like weak. There's not a lot out there. It's decent. It could be worse for sure. And we do have to make sure that we're not looking at just biased studies either, because sometimes it's a supplement company that will go and fund their own study. And they're probably going to throw out the research if it didn't show what they wanted it to show. So we might only be seeing the best of whatever research might be being done if it is done by certain supplement companies. And fair enough, it is hard to get funding done for a lot of natural supplements and things like that. So it's hard to get non-biased funding, non-biased research done. So sometimes supplement companies do have to fund their own research in order to be able to make some claims around their products for sure. And it's just not a fair world sometimes, but that's how it is. We just have to be cautious whenever we're reading some of these studies, just to make sure that they're pretty much like we can trust them for the most part, but just make sure that they're telling the results in a very non-biased way as best as possible. But overall, some studies do show modest benefits for skin and joint health. For example, there was a randomized controlled trial, and I'll try my best to link them into the show notes. Sometimes my brain forgets, but I'll make sure I try to put them in there. So the randomized controlled trial is about 12 weeks, and it was using hydrolyzed peptides, so hydrolyzed collagen, In the participants, they did see increased skin hydration and elasticity. Basically, they saw that their skin was a little bit more plumper and bouncier. They also saw decreased wrinkles, which was kind of cool. And so just quickly, the randomized control trial is a pretty good study. You're randomizing who gets the therapy or not, which is fantastic way to look at things. It was a small trial, but 12 weeks, hydrolyzed peptides, decent dose. There was some results seen. And yeah, it was pretty positive there. So it could potentially help with wrinkles, skin elasticity. If you're feeling like you've aged a little bit from any of the treatment that you might have received, this could potentially help. And then there's a second study in 2024. Again, they saw improved skin hydration, elasticity. They also looked at hair and skin health as well. So they saw that the hair was like a little bit more luscious. Hair and scalp health. And that the scalp was nice, like just healthier looking too. Just hair was growing better is pretty much what they're looking at after, I think this was another 12-week study when they looked at collagen, taking collagen. So overall, there are potentially some benefits. I do have to say those are the pros of taking collagen. There are a lot of studies as well that don't show any benefit whatsoever. It's not like collagen makes things worse, but it's very hit and miss. And I find that with our clients as well. So if typically we don't really prescribe collagen, I'll get into that in a just a little bit as well. But typically people come to us and they're already taking collagen. They're like, should I continue to take it or not? And we're just like, well, do you think it's actually helping? And some people will be like straight up, no, I don't think it's helping. So we're like, well, stop taking it. And some people were like, yes, like I absolutely saw that my nails were less brittle and my hair grew back nice and shinier and stronger. And I do think that it's making my wrinkles go away a little bit. And I would say it's very hard to tell if it's going to work for someone or not. But based on the evidence, we do have pros and cons. Like, again, some research shows benefit, as I just went through there. And then there's just some research that there's no significant benefit that has been shown to show any improvement. But I have to say we don't see any harm. We don't see people get more wrinkles or brittler nails or worse hair or more painful joints or anything like that if they were to take the collagen. All right. So then the last quick thing I want to talk about before I go into the cancer specific information is wound healing, because sometimes we do have people who have just finished surgery, or maybe you have a wound that you're looking to work on. And there was a meta-analysis done, which is where they take a bunch of different studies and put it into one and then analyze it statistically that way. And they were looking at collagen dressings. So not oral collagen, but collagen dressings, and seeing did that improve the healing process for anyone who had some wounds that needed to be healed. And they did see that they had faster healing, just improved speed at which the wound healed when people were doing these collagen dressings. That being said, the use of oral collagen for wound healing, so just taking a collagen supplement, has not really shown a lot of benefit in terms of wound healing. They need to do more studies for sure, but whatever they have done is just like, it didn't really help any with it speeding the time to heal. Whereas the topical collagen dressing did show improvement for wound healing. Not the same application as if you were to put it in a night cream and see a difference. So different ways that these things are delivered. I believe the collagen dressings were done on more open wounds, where if you're applying a collagen in a night cream and hoping to reduce your wrinkles, it's just not going to get absorbed into the skin this way. Whereas if we have a more open wound, it's going to be absorbed into the area a little bit more effectively. And then the way the dressings are made too, I think they might have added some potentially things that help with the absorption. I didn't go into it too in depth because we don't typically deal with wound healing. And this is definitely something that your surgeon or your medical professional who sees you in person should be a part of the conversation with, because they might have better things than even collagen dressings. It's most likely that they do have better things than collagen dressings for you to use in order to improve wound healing. So just overall, like some of the studies are pretty short, just up to 12 weeks. Maybe if we applied the collagen for longer, people might see more of a benefit. Like 12 weeks is not really like, it seems long, but it's at the same time, it's not really that long when it comes to applying a natural therapy in order to fix wrinkles, for example, or joint pain, for example, that have been there for a long time, whether it's due to arthritis or joint pain from any sort of hormone blocking medications that you might be on. It might take longer than 12 weeks in order for the collagen to truly build and make a difference. We got to be careful of bias studies because some of the companies that sell collagen will do their own studies, and we just got to be careful of what their outcomes could be. I mean, like I would say most of the time it's pretty safe to assume that their information is legitimate, but it's just part of analyzing research is we want to watch out for that kind of thing. And just again, like results are not really consistent across all outcomes. We have some studies that show benefit, some studies that show no benefit. Overall, we don't see any harm in it in terms of a general population. So it's kind of like you got to try it for yourself. And again, I'll get into what that might look like for you. The real question here is though, so I'm talking more general population when I talk about the benefits of joint health and skin health and stuff like that with the collagen. But let's say that you want to improve your skin health and or you want to improve your joint pain, you want your hair to grow out better, you want less brittle nails. But a lot of this might have happened because you had a cancer diagnosis. So let's now talk about collagen and how it impacts cancer growth. So when we're looking at cancer and tumor biology and collagen, we actually see that tumors that tend to have more collagen in the tumor microenvironment, so in the cellular aspect, they do tend to have faster tumor growth. They can invade deeper into tissues. They might spread a little bit more often if there's more collagen around there, compared to tumors that might have less collagen around there. So there is this kind of caution that we want to take that in this molecular at a cell study, when they're actually doing like a biopsy of a tumor, they're looking at the collagen content and seeing that we do see increased growth, spread, deeper growth with a collagen-rich tumor. That being said, does that mean that taking collagen is going to have an impact on the actual collagen in the tumor microenvironment? The answer is probably not. So whenever you take oral collagen, it doesn't mean that it's actually going to get to the tumor. So you have to eat it. It has to go through your digestive tract. It then has to get kind of broken up or, I don't know, shaken up a little bit. Then it gets delivered through your bloodstream. And then it has to potentially go and like reach the tumor, which it might not make it there. It might have a preference to go to your joints, to your hair, to your skin, to your nails, things like that. The actual dose that might be reaching the tumor is potentially, most likely, pretty low. We just don't have that solid information right now. We don't have the research that says people who have had a cancer diagnosis, if they consume collagen, that they have increased tumor growth or they have increased rates of recurrence. That research hasn't been done yet, which does leave us with an uncomfortable answer. And that's just that we just don't know. But the way that I want to come at this from my education based on what I've done in terms of how to learn how to research better, the research that I have done myself, my knowledge around how the body works, how tumors grow, how cancer grows, and clinically speaking, how often we have people coming to us taking collagen and how they don't seem to have an increased risk of cancer growing or anything like that compared to the general population. As it stands right now with the knowledge that we've got available, I don't feel like this should be a large source of fear when it comes to cancer, taking collagen. But I do feel like if you're going to take collagen, it's got to be worth it. So we actually want it to be making a difference when it comes to whatever reason you're taking it for. So let's go through what that would look like and how to figure out if it's kind of worth the benefit of stronger nails, less wrinkles, less joint pain to take collagen versus do we even know if it's going to have an impact on cancer growth or not. So this is kind of the process I would walk through, I always say, with my mom who has had a cancer diagnosis. And if my mom were to come to me and she's like, I've got some joint pain or I really want to improve the youthfulness of my skin and I heard collagen could be helpful. Can we give it a try? So my first thing would be like, okay, so you want to take it for joint pain or skin health. Let's try these other things first because, again, we don't have the information on collagen. I'm not totally afraid of it, but I want to see, is there other things that might be safer, potentially less harm, potentially less impact on cancer growth? So let's try all these other things first for whether it's skin health or joint health. We would go through whatever that might be. If we tried that, or maybe she already tried it and it just didn't work, we'd be like, okay, so then let's try the collagen. And the first thing I would do, and this is what I want you to do as well, is I want you to assess what are you taking it for in great detail. So let's say you're taking it for joint pain. You want to take collagen and you want to make sure that it improves your joint pain. So you want to first assess the joint pain on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being excruciating pain, 1 being barely there. Where would you rate your joint pain? How often is it happening in a day, in a week? How is it interfering with your life? Does it anything make it better? Does anything make it worse? Basically, I want you to fully assess whatever the symptom is that you're trying to address. And here's the reason why. It's because you're going to then assess, you're going to take your treatment, and then you're going to reassess. Do you actually notice a difference? Because as humans, we often forget where we started from. So then we apply a treatment change, and then maybe it does work, and we just totally forgot how bad it was before. It's still maybe there, but maybe it's like even 20% of what it used to be. But as humans, we forget that it used to be so much worse. So, especially 3 months later, 4 months later, when it takes us about that much time in order to know if a therapy is working or not, you're going to forget, oh, yeah, like I couldn't get up out of my chair because my joint pain was so bad. I couldn't exercise, like I was barely walking. And then you end up 3 months later, like, oh yeah, like I still feel like I have trouble like on my rowing machine, but I definitely walk without thinking about it anymore. But if you don't truly assess your symptom before you treat it, or it's super it's a human nature. It's nothing to do with you. It's not a problem. I promise you, if you think this isn't you, it is you. You're going to forget how bad it used to be. So make sure that whatever you're taking it for, I want you to assess as best as you can using numbers and objective markers, as well as subjective markers like your words and how it made you feel and how things interfered with your life, because then I want you to reassess down the road. So going back to this, let's say my mom's like, yep, I have joint pain. We tried the other things, didn't quite work. Let's now try collagen. Okay, oh, well, we're going to assess everything that I just chatted about when it comes to joint pain. And then I'm going to get you to take the collagen and make sure it's hydrolyzed, and you're going to take it. And then at 4 weeks, and then at 8 weeks, and then at 12 weeks, each of those increments, I'm going to get you to go back to your initial journaling of where you started from. I don't want you to look at it yet. I want you to know what you're going to be assessing. You're going to reevaluate those things at 4, 8, and 12 weeks to see, did you actually notice a difference? Did your pain scale change? Are you now doing things that you weren't doing before? Because by 12 weeks, at the time that we would have expected the collagen to fully have an impact on your body, that's when we're going to know, did it work? Did it not work? And at other check-in points along the way, you can also say like, you know what? It's not working as fast as I want. This is truly interfering with my life. I think it's time to leave the collagen in the past and move on to something that might be a little bit faster acting, harder hitting, whether it might be, like, for example, for joint pain, we typically gear more towards glucosamine chondroitin. Again, it takes some time to start working. Or if it's so bad that you might have to try pharmaceuticals in the meantime, maybe that's where we want to layer that in while we're working on other things, whether it's physiotherapy or potentially allowing the collagen to work a little bit more. And then we could take you off the pills. We wouldn't, but your prescribing physician could take you off the pharmaceutical pills that you might have been put on in order to manage the pain. There's little ways that we want to check in along the way to see if it's working. But just overall concept is assess what you're taking it for, know when you're going to check in along the way to see, is it actually working or not? And then at the end of your little science experiment, you're going to be like, yeah, I do notice a difference. The collagen is definitely helping. And you're going to think like, okay, so nothing else worked. I can now move without pain. I'm now exercising more. I know that exercise is going to reduce my recurrence risk by over 50%, whereas we don't really know if collagen is truly going to have an impact on cancer or not. So I'm super happy with continuing to take the collagen despite the very minimal potential for collagen to potentially encourage cancer to grow. It's barely there compared to now I can exercise, and that's going to reduce my risk over 50% in some populations. Heck, I'm going to keep taking the collagen because I know it's working. The thing I don't want to see is you're taking collagen and you don't even think it's making a difference. You don't even know if it's making a difference. So one, it's not making a difference. So why are you still taking it? Let's not get you to keep taking it. And two, there is the potential, very small possibility of it encouraging cancer to grow there. Let's just not take it. So going back to just some overarching concepts here is one, the results are mixed with collagen in terms of its effectiveness for whatever you're trying to apply it for. We don't know if it's going to work. So the only real way to figure out if it's going to work is if we try it with you, try it for you. You have to balance out the pros and the cons, because the pros of reducing the joint pain is you can do other fantastic things. Pros of even healing your skin or your hair or your nails, it makes you feel better. The better you feel, the more able you're going to go out and be able to do other things like meal prep appropriately, to choose healthier foods over not so healthy foods. Because whenever our moods are low, whenever we're not feeling good about ourselves, we're going to choose less healthy foods. So that is a fair enough balance compared to the minimal evidence we have that it could potentially encourage cancer growth. And just that we know that we need more research for sure, but we don't want to undervalue the possibility of our mental health improving or our pain and stuff like that improving with the collagen. So it's a fine balance. And I do feel like it needs to be done on a bit of an individualized basis. And that's how you do it. You run through if it's actually working for you, and you kind of balance that with there's a little bit of evidence, but it's probably not that strong. So let's take it if it's working. That's how I would handle it with my mom. So I would encourage my mom to take collagen if she actually saw a benefit, despite the knowledge I have around how there are tumor biopsies, cellular molecular studies showing that the tumors with higher amounts of collagen can encourage more growth, whereas those with lesser amounts of collagen might not grow as fast. And another kind of piece of that, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. I've been talking a lot today in different forms, but they might not actually be the collagen that's encouraging the growth necessarily as well. There's might be something else in there that's causing the collagen, and it's something else that might be encouraging the tumor to grow. So it's not directly necessarily related to the collagen. All right. So I hope that was helpful. I will just kind of say right quick is that I do have a little bit of a giveaway going on if you're at all interested in getting some meal plans. It's the idea is to be able to get more reviews of the podcast, whether it's YouTube or whatever podcast channel you're listening to. The more reviews that we get, the just better able we are to spread our information and knowledge around evidence-based holistic cancer recovery and prevention, recurrence prevention. So if you have the time, if you're so inclined to leave a kind review, you can do that on your favorite podcast or potentially even on YouTube. Just make sure to subscribe on YouTube. That's how we get more credibility, I guess. So leave a review, take a screenshot, and then DM me on Instagram at Megan Bernard ND. I'll put it into the show notes there. DM me 5 stars. Super important to DM me 5 stars because I have a little robot automation that will automatically send you the meal plans, because otherwise I'd be sifting through hundreds of messages every day. And I do read quite a few of them. But if you can just leave a kind review, take a screenshot, send the screenshot and the 5 stars, both of those will trigger this automation. You get immediately sent 2 30-day meal plans. One is vegetarian, one is omnivore. So for people who eat meat and vegetables, you'll be sent 2 of those. So it's 60 days of meals overall. There is a macro breakdown so you can learn your protein, carbs, and fat. There's very, very pretty pictures. So it's very nice, easy read, and some delicious recipes over there. If you're at all interested in leaving that review, I would super, super appreciate it. I would just love to be able to reach more and more women to help spread our information or my knowledge around cancer recovery prevention in terms of less fear, more focus, and more evidence. So I appreciate that. If you need more information on that, I will put in the show notes too. Thanks for hanging out with me. Here's to flourishing after cancer. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Flourish After Cancer podcast. If you loved this episode, please be sure to leave a review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Sending all my best your way, Dr. Megan.